Hi there, and welcome to BeCollaboration, the Journey of Possibility podcast on the 1st of March 2019. It's lovely to have you with us today, and I'm really excited to welcome Andrew Horder along as my guest this afternoon. Andrew has been one of our accomplices. That's kind of an internal name we give to our group hosts. And he, along with his fellow accomplice, looks after the Surrey region over in Banstead. And Andrew has been probably one of our founder members, very early days. He's been around BeCollaboration, and he has done a podcast before. So you want to go back and find out a little bit about his early days, his world of academia, when he was a very naughty boy.
I was not a naughty boy.
But today I wanted to get to grips a little bit more, Andrew, with where you're at in the world today, what you're passionate about. So welcome. Lovely to have you on board.
Great to be here, Jill.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, and also to thank you publicly even more because you are one of my right-hand people. So as a classic example, on Tuesday last, we had a London meeting and somebody fell ill and couldn't do one of their presentations. So I just went, hi, Andrew. And he's like, yeah, sure. It's so lovely to rely on you and have you there, knowing that you're going to just take something off the shelf, polish it up for BeCollaboration, and then you've got something wonderful to deliver. So one of the things you talked about is core process on the Tuesday meeting, but I think probably we'll come to that a little bit later on. Okay. And you can fill us in a bit more. What I'd like to find out about is how you got to where you are today with your business, your joyful genius, and why you are classified as our joyful genius. Where did that come from?
Where did that come from? Well, when I came out of corporate, I didn't really know what I was doing. And I started off my coaching business, and I'll explain a bit later how I actually got into coaching. That was because, I'll do it now. When I found out what my core process is,
right.
We'll come to core process later. My core process is encouraging potential.
Right.
That was when I had to go, I'm a coach.
Penny drop.
Right. That's why trying to be a consultant didn't really work.
When
I started off coaching, I was all about focus, because I'd actually designed and developed this approach to figuring out which projects you want to get involved in, called Opportunity Matrix.
Okay.
And that was about, okay, so what should I be focusing on? And it looked at it from a very rational perspective, but also from the passion side of things. Do I actually even want to do this?
Yeah.
I said there are two big business questions. How much do I want to do? How much do I want to do this? Passion side, and will I make any money at it? The rational side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought what I'll do is I'll build my coaching practice around getting people to understand what it is they should be focusing on. And I called it Not the Busy Fool, spinning off sort of, Motley Fool.
Yeah.
And then I realized that the reason why people don't focus on the stuff that they love to do and they're good at is simply because they don't know what they love to do.
They know what they don't love to do. Isn't it funny? A lot of people know what they don't want, but they're not actually sure and are they allowed to want that? This thing that they used to do when they were 8 years old.
Yeah, there's that whole Protestant work ethic thing about, are you allowed to have fun at work?
Exactly.
If you're enjoying it, what are you doing getting paid? You can't get paid
for that. Exactly.
It's barking, but it's how we think. And so I was looking for the name for a webinar around focus. And I came up with this name for the webinar of Juice Up Your Joyful Genius.
Okay.
Really, I loved it as a name.
A little bit of alliteration going on there. That works. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love acronyms, and I love
yeah.
So, and then I thought, you know what? Yeah, it's not about not being a busy fool. It's about finding your joyful genius. That's actually what I want to spend my working life doing. Lovely. So I changed the name of my practice, did a new website, and I've been Joyful Genius ever since.
Yeah.
And that's now what I focus on.
Lovely.
Yeah,
brilliant. So you've got 3 steps to genius, haven't you, in your philosophy?
I believe that everyone has a genius.
Yeah.
But there are 3 steps to bringing that genius out, if you like.
Right.
The first one is step up.
Yes, indeed.
And actually own up to having one.
Right. Most people are like, oh, no, not me. Couldn't possibly be me. I'm not a genius.
There's lots of reasons why they don't. But first step up and actually admit you're a bit special.
Yeah.
Second step is to step into that genius and really understand it.
Right.
Because without that, you can't do the third step, which is to step out with that genius and take it out into the world with a message that people understand and that is congruent with who you are. And the challenge comes that people do one of 2 things. They either leap straight from step up to step out without really understanding their genius. So they go, right, okay, I'm a great accountant, and I'm a particular kind of accountant, and I'm going to now go and tell the world all about it without really understanding what makes them special for their perfect customers, what makes them the perfect supplier for their ideal clients.
What's interesting is that a lot of people realise they're good at something, not understanding what their genius is, purely because they see their genius as like, well, that's easy, isn't it? Everyone can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. They're too close to it.
Yes, exactly. So you have to do some work on yourself to unravel it all, to spot the bits that like, what do you mean? Can't everyone? I thought everyone could do that. Oh, it's just me then. Oh, flip. And then all of a sudden, then you can own it, can't you? And then you realise, and then
that's where you realise that, I am special.
Yeah.
And now you're starting to be able to really get into the point of owning that genius. So I talk about the first step being owning up to your genius. The second step is owning your genius.
So when did you kind of cotton on to all of this, and what was your genius and how did you own it?
Well, my genius is encouraging potential. It's, what I do is I see what's possible for people. And I see where they're holding themselves back from it. Yeah. And I get them to do the step into part.
Right.
To be honest, a lot of the time I force them into the step up bit first. But
do you have to take them kind of kicking and screaming sometimes, because people aren't keen to do work on themselves, are they, really, at the level that you're talking about?
It's people want to fit in, because belonging is core human needs. So they want to fit in. They don't want to be an outlier.
They have the need to be the same.
And they don't quite understand that they can still be part of a group while being special. That's one of the things I love about BeColl. We're all special, and we know we're special because we're in an environment where that's what you can be. That's what you're expected to be.
Exactly.
That's what I love about the whole environment. And it's a place where people can do that inside work and really understand who they are and what it is they really want out of life.
Because if you're missing those 3 steps and you don't do any work on yourself and you don't acknowledge that you're a genius, then you're forever on the treadmill, aren't you? That the treadmill that you've been indoctrinated into climbing onto and going through. You work till you're 65, then you retire, then you've got some time and you just drop down dead. I mean, that's...
But it's worse than that. It's worse than that, because what you're doing, most of the people that we come across, certainly, within BeColl, but most I work with, they've done the corporate thing and they're now out.
Escaped.
So they've got to the point, they've escaped, and they've got to the point of going, there's more to life than this. And now they're getting sucked back into putting themselves into that little block. The accountant-shaped block, or the consultant-shaped block, or
because that's what they've always done. That that's what I know. Safety
or
zone.
the wacky healer-shaped block. They're still just trying to fit this model that other people have. And I talk about people trying to be who they think other people think they ought to be.
Oof, yeah.
Yes, who they think other people ought to think they ought to be.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like, leave my head alone, please. But that's what we do. So we end up with such a distorted version of ourselves that it's never going to be fun.
And of course, with the world that we live in today and social media, I don't know about you, but I'm constantly got these pop-ups on Facebook and Instagram and things. It's like, you too can have a life on the beach and earn thousands of pounds every day by doing... And you're fed this false expectation.
Well, yeah, but the problem with those is then people go into those not really understanding who they are, and then they try and fit the model that model is designed to make work, which is a false bullshit model. So you've got a bullshit model that somebody who doesn't really understand themselves is trying to fit themselves into, so they become a bullshit person.
Oh, yeah.
And that is really sad. I was just talking to somebody this morning about that, and you know, without that knowledge of yourself, all the best tools in the world is only going to create a plastic you. Yeah,
that's kind of why, without knocking the likes of Tony Robbins and all the wonderful things that he's done, but a lot of people chug along to these kind of events, get the adrenaline rush of how amazing I could walk over hot coals, and come away and like, they're back to square one again, aren't they?
Yeah. The biggest challenge, I think, even bigger than that, is that a whole load of people go along to things like Tony Robbins, you know, T. Harv Eker, John Martini, all those sort of people. Now, I know those are three very different types of people, but you know, they're still very rah-rah in their delivery.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah.
And then there's a whole bunch of sharks, if you like.
Yes. Getting on the bandwagon.
And they're using Facebook ad targeting so that they know you've been to UPW. And now they're going to hit you with, create your massive action plan. Pay me $5,000 and I'll show you how to build your online funnel. Of course, you're building your online funnel from a place where you're not fully developed yet.
Yeah. So you're not being authentic, and therefore...
And then it don't work.
Exactly. How can you radar out, you know, what you want to achieve in the world if you're not actually sure of what you're good at and what you want to be doing?
Yeah. So you know, methinks the lady doth protest too much, you know, or you're just fitting into what you think other people want to hear you say. So you're using the same old tired internet marketing phrases that everybody's heard before, and you know, making promises.
Out, don't they? They just don't hear it because they've got
exactly.
grey noise.
So you know, I used to have a bit of an issue with Tony Robbins, because you know he makes such a big razzmatazz about it, but in the end, he changes people's lives. I went along for quite a long time. I was sponsored for a while of the Yes Group in London. Oh, right. Which is a bunch of ex-UPW people who
Unleash
go along.
The Power, for those of you that are watching that, aren't you? What the hell's UPW?
Yeah, UPW, sorry, Unleash the Power with it.
One of his programmes, isn't it?
It's Tony Robbins' free weekend. No, it's not free. Oh. It's not. He doesn't do it as a free one, does it? He charges about 800 quid, if I remember rightly.
Don't know. I've never been on that one, but yeah. I've seen
you walk on hot coals on the Friday evening, and then you cry in your beer on the sun on the Sunday. And then you've gone through this, you know, great catharsis, and you come out as a whole new person for about 3.5 days. Yeah, but you know, without being terribly cynical about it, there are a lot of people that it does transform their lives, and it does. Yeah.
You know, it shows them a way forward where they were stuck, and it's a bit like the analogy I like to use. Have you ever seen Cesar Millan, who does the dog training?
No.
He's a dog psychologist, so he talks about dogs getting stuck in a certain way of behaviour.
Yeah.
And he helps them to unlock themselves, and once they get over that space, they're kind of unlocked, and then all of a sudden everything's possible, and they become a much better behaved because they don't have to live in fear. And I think that's what Anthony Robbins does. He has that ability, you know, as a coach, very clever man, to unlock people's sort of thought processes. But there are lots of easy ways of kind of doing that and understanding, doing work on yourself and understanding what your genius is, why you're here on this planet, what your purpose is, what you've been gifted, and acknowledge.
And note that, gifted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever read? I've written a couple of blogs on the gift, the whole thing about gifting. So the universe has gifted you, universe, the God, whatever you want to call it, gifted you this fantastic ability to do something different and for your perfect customers better than anyone else. Yeah. So I want to get people to imagine themselves sometime around about the end of November. They're walking down a local high street, and there in the window it's just the perfect gift for a really close friend. Right. So they go in and they buy it. They wrap it up carefully. It's got bows and nice tag on it. And they meet up with their friend a couple of days before Christmas. And they hand it over to them, and they just know that their friend's going to absolutely love this gift. Then they go off to do Christmas with the family. 27th of December, they're wandering down the high street again, and they walk past the charity shop. And there it is, right in the window, unmistakable. That gift that they took so long to think about and buy for their friend. Yeah. Now, how do you think they feel about that?
Mortified, probably.
Yeah. How do you think the universe feels, or God, or whoever feels when we reject the gift that we've been given and we give it away for free?
Yeah. That's a really lovely way to look at it. Yeah.
Isn't, as so many people say, well, it is to serve the world. Yeah, the reason we're giving our gift is to serve the world, but it's also to make sure that we can continue to do it. We start giving it away for free, we're going to go broke, and we're going to end up having to do something other than our gift.
Well, the thing is, in an ideal world, because money is a human invention, we wouldn't be having to charge for it anyway. So it's just us sustaining ourselves in the world that we live in until such time as we don't need to do that. So that's just a function rather than, I don't want to charge, I'm going to give it away. It's just forget that. It's a tool that we use in order to reach more people, and the more people you reach with your gift, that's the reason that you've been put here in the first place. And as you say,
you've been given the gift in order to deliver it to the world.
Yeah.
And if you don't deliver it to the world as much as you possibly can, then that's a waste.
Yeah.
And the only way you're going to deliver it to the world as much as you possibly can is if you're either stupidly rich and don't need to earn money, unfortunately not most of us, or people are paying you to deliver your gift. It's,
Exactly.
It's simple economics, actually.
And it's pay it forward as well, because the more people you reach that do pay you, so they can tell other people and they can tell other people, and then eventually you have enough money so the people that have no money but still need your gift can come to you and you can serve them too.
Yes. Yeah, that's very definitely the case. But here's the other thing. When you deliver your gift to people, you are changing their life. Yeah. So it's, yes, they're paying you money, but the value they get from the changes that they're able to make, whatever those changes are, even if that's only having their accounts accurate.
Yeah.
And I say only. Frankly, having your accounts accurate, kind of important.
Yeah, indeed.
So, there's, and that's the thing, that a lot of the stuff that we think is mundane, and therefore it's not a genius. Geniuses are only those, people like Tony Robbins who changed millions of lives, blah, blah, blah. No. Every single one of us can change the world by changing one person's life.
And it's your attitude towards what your gift is. So as an example, this is donkeys years ago, my neighbours used to be they are ex-neighbours, Portuguese.
Yes. They used to be your neighbours, they still are Portuguese.
Yeah. And they used to, two of them, so it was the whole family, it was the grandma, the husband and wife, the children, and the sister lived there. And the wife and the sister were cleaners, and they used to go into London and clean offices. And I was like, oh, that must be so tough. And they're like, no, love it. And they had their own little company. They absolutely loved doing what they were doing. And even when we went on holiday with them to Portugal and we were meeting their family out there, they were cleaning their houses for nothing, because that's just what they love doing. And that's what they're good at. Oh, they're cleaners. That's what they, and her husband was a carpenter. And it was just, they had this gratitude about where they were in life, but they were determined to work hard, and they did it doing the things that they were good at. And the things they were good at was the things that they loved.
Yeah. So I heard somebody say a while back that working hard at something that you love isn't hard work.
Yeah. Yeah. You never have to work a day in your life if you're doing something that you love.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, that does bring us to the point that you are supposed to work hard. Mm. It's just not supposed to be hard work.
Yeah. I think the difference is when you're in your flow and you're doing what you are meant to be doing, the time flies. It doesn't feel hard. The difference between hard work and difficult, when you're not in your flow, it becomes difficult and hard. Yeah. But when you're in your flow, it's not difficult at all. But you're still, and you put your pen down, or you close your laptop, or you come off the roof if you've been a tiler or whatever it happens to be, and you stop and you're like, oof, I'm tired now. But when you're doing it, you don't have that feeling, do you? I mean, I've sometimes, Alan's gone out the office in the morning and I'm working from home today. And he's like, oh yeah, you're going to work. And I'll go in and I'll be in the study. And apart from going to the loo once or twice, I don't move. And he said, what do you have for lunch? I'm like, oh, I forgot lunch.
Oh yeah, I didn't do that.
Because I was just in that space and your time just disappears. And that's the beautiful part about it, isn't it?
That's working hard, but it's not difficult work. It's not a grind.
No. And you're blessed if you can have that space, aren't you? And I think first step to working towards that is acknowledging what your genius is.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't,
my ideal world is a world in which that's the norm.
Yeah.
People go to work because that's what they like doing.
Yeah.
Now, is that Pollyanna? I don't think it is.
I love Pollyanna.
Because actually, there's a practical reason why we still love our work anyway. Mm. And that is quite simply because we're better at it when we love it. Mm.
That's what I've always said to my kids as well. No matter what job you're doing, if you're a road sweeper, you become the best road sweeper there is. Because when you have some element of pride in what you're doing, you might not be doing it forever, but be the best you can be, because that will give you some satisfaction in what you're doing, rather than going, oh, I'm a road sweeper. Oh, this is really hard work. I don't want to be sweeping roads. Your whole everything goes down.
And that makes it hard work.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you've got...
Because there's this, one of the phrases I use is, love what you do for a living, make a great living doing what you love.
Yeah.
Now, those are two sides of the same coin. Mm-hmm. So that's what you're talking about there. Mm. Love what you do for a living. Mm. Yeah, it's not do what you love and the money will come.
No.
Because that is frankly coppers.
It
is, love what you do for a living. So, great, you've got to do street sweeping. Love it. Find the bit about it that isn't, a daily grind. Mm. And if you can't find that in your work, you probably ought to find a different job. I know that sounds very trite and very easy to do when you've got mortgages to pay and, kids to feed and all the rest of that. Mm. But the one thing that you see in pretty much everyone who's a success is that whatever they've done it to the best of their ability, and they've found a way to enjoy doing it. Mm.
At the end of the day, if they're not enjoying it and they're suffering, that actually internalizes. So even though you're going, I've got to keep this job because it's well paid and it pays the mortgage and it keeps a roof over my family's head, if you're not actively looking for something else because you're unhappy in that role, you're actually going to make yourself ill somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
And your family without you are going to be no good either.
Yeah. But what you're also doing, you say you're internalising it, you're also externalising it. People are picking up on it.
Yes.
And the promotions don't come and the customers don't buy. Mm. Yeah. Mm. I always ask people, tell me a time when you had a really good experience of buying something. And it's always been when the person who's been helping them to buy, not not a salesman, but the person helping them to buy,
Yeah.
has clearly been enjoying their work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And somebody grumpy, you don't want to work with them.
You don't want to pay for anything from them, do you? It's like when I go clothes shopping, I'm the best customer ever because I want to walk in a shop and I want someone to say, can I help you? And I go, yes, you can. Can you find me this? Can you find me that? Can you find me this? And then I'll buy half the shop. But they don't come up to you because they're frightened of saying that thing because they think they have to sell. And there's so many messages in there, aren't there? If you're really happy with doing what you're doing.
If you love your work and you believe in what it is that you're offering people, then selling isn't a problem because it's not selling.
No,
it's offering people the opportunity to get their hands on something that you think is really cool.
Yeah. It's like those sales conversations, isn't it? When people go, oh, well, I won't pick up the phone because I'm worried that I might be interrupting them and I don't want to do that. It's like, well, hang on, what are you offering them? If what you're offering them is life-changing, pick the blooming phone up. They need that call and they will be grateful for that call. But if you've got the voice of like, sorry to disturb you, you're never going to change their life. You're never going to help them purchase anything because you're not believing in yourself, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's what corporate
to be honest,
about.
If you think you might be interrupting them with something they don't need, you haven't done your research.
Yes. Yeah.
It's that simple.
And I don't know about you, but whenever I have somebody ring me up and try and sell me something, especially if I've asked them already and said, would you give me a call? And then they don't ring. I'm like, well, why haven't you rung? But if they ring me and say, oh, just remember that, you said you were interested in this. I'm like, oh, thank you. I've been meaning to call you and I haven't had a chance. So they're doing me a favour and it's not a nuisance call. And if it is a nuisance call, people don't answer the phone, do they? Generally.
Well, even if they do. I sometimes answer nuisance calls just for the fun of it.
Oh,
I ask them why they think I need it.
Okay. I invite them to BeCollaboration if it's a sales call. I've got a few guests that way. It's interesting. It's like, well, no, I'm not in need of web design at the moment, but do you know what? There might be a few people if you want to come along and have a chat. You never know. You give me a little list here, Andrew, and it's one of the things is enjoyment performance theory.
This is what I was talking about a minute ago, that we do better at work that we enjoy.
Oh, absolutely.
It's that simple. They've actually shown in behavioural, it's an offshoot of behavioural theory,
right?
That when we enjoy our work, our performance goes up.
Oh, absolutely. You know the story about the Braffman brothers? They wrote a book called Click. And they did the basic scientists, and they couldn't work out why people click. That kind of chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we really love each other. It's amazing. We've been friends for life. How and can you orchestrate that click? So they worked out the different things that have created the click, and then they actually orchestrated a click with 3 people and 3 people that hadn't clicked. And they've done various other studies, but this was one that kind of fascinated me, is that the people that didn't click had the same experience, the same project to do, and the same time to do it in. Yeah. And they did the project, they did it just within time, and they did a good job. Lovely, tick box, but they didn't click. So the 3 that had been orchestrated to click and got on had exactly the same criteria. They all had the same experience, they had exactly the same project, and they had exactly the same time span. Not only did they finish the project well ahead of time, but they went above and beyond and excelled in what they'd been actually asked to do because they were having so much fun. It's like, and it wasn't work to them. It wasn't a chore. The others had gone, right, done it, filled the criteria, walked away, probably never saw each other again. And the others have potentially become lifelong friends as a result of it. So it's what you're passionate about. And that's what I like about BeCollaboration is you get a lot of people who are passionate about all sorts of different things. And then when you get 2 of them that happen to be passionate about the same thing, it's like this magnet goes, ooh, wow, and they go off and they start talking. And then you have stories like Jackie Perkins and Nick Horton, who are off busy putting something together, and they're loving it. Absolutely loving it.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Absolutely.
So, enjoyment performance theory, is that the same kind of thing? Once you kind of know what you're loving doing, you can go off and
and then there's a kind of logic to it that if you enjoy doing something, you're going to do more, get better at it, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then of course you get better at it, which means you do more of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, I don't like doing stuff that I don't know how to do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Me and
most
technology.
people
Yeah.
So it's much more fun to do stuff you know how to do it,
Yeah.
and to learn more about that,
Yes.
and learn how to
Get
do it
better.
better.
Mm,
Yeah.
definitely.
So we do better work when we enjoy it, and we enjoy doing better work.
Mm,
So they feed onto each other,
yeah. And
which is superb.
then you're in your happy place, aren't you?
Yeah, well, yeah, and you know, that sounds bizarre, doesn't it? You're in your happy place at work, but you just said, you know, you have entire days when you're in your happy place.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what are joy stealers?
Well, that sort of comes back to what you were saying about the street sweepers and that.
Yeah.
What I've come to realise is that for any job, and I mean any job, right down to loo cleaners, you know, there is somebody who will find joy in doing that work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They don't, you know, loo cleaners don't see it as cleaning the loo, or loo attendants. They don't see it as that. They see it as helping people to have a pleasant experience doing something that nature requires them to do.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
You know, but because there's somebody for every task, for every job, what that means is that if you're doing work that you don't enjoy, you are getting in the way of the people who would be enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your lack of joy knocks on to other people because that misery becomes infectious, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So that's one level of joy stealing. Yeah, the other level of stealing in not having your joy in your work is that, frankly, enjoyment performance theory, you're not doing it as well as somebody who would be enjoying it.
Yeah.
So you're stealing from the people paying you to do it.
Yeah.
And of course, you're stealing your own joy by doing stuff that's not fun for you. And
then some people go for the whole hog and their enjoyment becomes having a jolly good moan about stuff. Yes. They're not happy unless they're having a whinge about something. That really just makes them happy. I remember saying to my mum once, who had been known to be slightly negative, is like, well, if you're not happy, do something about it. She said, what do you mean I'm not happy? Of course I'm happy. Really? Tell your face.
You sound like it, but
it's such a shame. But there are some people that you can, what they call neg ferrets. Who wrote that book about neg ferrets?
I've not heard neg ferrets, but I understand.
Have you not? There is it's a very famous book. It's about 20 years old, and you don't want to be around the neg ferret, negative people that are just going to pull you down. And it's going back to the Richard Hawkins with the levels of emotions.
Oh yeah.
If you've got somebody who wants to pull you down, or you can be around people that want to pull you up, and you might not be at joy just yet, but you know what? Take a little step, and take a little step, and take a little step, and then it comes.
And they'll get there eventually.
Yeah. So do you want to be a radiator or a drain?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. But you said that some people are only happy when they're moaning. Actually, that is not. It's a very superficial level of happiness.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
It's almost like being on drugs. You know, you're covering up.
Yeah.
The pain of being in a life you're not enjoying.
Yeah. So, some people, I think it does become a habit when they want to say something about somebody else and moan about somebody else in order to elevate themselves, as though I'm not as bad as that kind of thing. You know, it's that. Anyway, that's a whole other subject. I'm going to put that on one side for now.
But yeah, and there's also the whole fitting in thing, isn't there? You know, oh, this weather, because we're kind of taught that that's the right thing to do, is to moan about the weather because we're British. You know.
That's true. I remember when I used to work as a teacher years ago, I walked into the staff room on a Monday morning, it was raining, and I was like, and I said to this guy, one of the teachers there, I said, how are you? He said, there's a roof over my head, there's food in my belly, the world is fine by me. I'm like, oh, shut up. I was enjoying having a moan and you just ruined it. Now I've got no reason to be happy. I've got to be happy like you are. It's just, but it's and he was that, his whole disposition was always, you could hear his laugh bellow from across the school. You know, it was a lovely energy to be around, because he always found something And if he was sad, everyone was like, oh, what's wrong with him? You know, because it just didn't happen. He was always this larger than life person. Because again, I suppose it's the gratitude and acknowledging. And he knew what he was good at.
Think of the difference in the kids' experience who got taught by him compared to the ones who got taught by the miserable beggars.
Because you know what had happened is over the years, circumstances had dictated that he lost his career that he had been going on that wasn't great. So he looked around and went, well, what do I like doing? I like being around kids. I like teaching kids. I think I'll do that. And he was good at art. So, you know, he used to do massive big murals on the classroom walls and things. Stunning. And the kids knew that he was in a place he was really happy in. So they were like magnets to him. They absolutely adored him, even though he was the strictest teacher there, but they adored him because he was happy wherever he was. And it was a lovely thing to see. And I think that's what, on an aside, you know, people moan about schools and teachers and the education system, but every school has got a teacher like that in it.
Yeah.
And they're kind of swept over. And it's like if head teachers let those particular ones have their way, then you would see the whole schools be raised in that kind of environment. Back to the Hawkins scenario, which raises the consciousness of the whole school. And it did. Whenever he was around, everyone was kind of up in, you know, they loved it.
And then they fall off the end of that straight into the world of work where they're expected to be miserable and only get paid if they're miserable.
Yeah, God, it's a big thing, isn't it? It's interesting that it's what is accepted. It's what is accepted. And at the age of 16, when I left school to go to work, I kind of, as soon as I realised that, is this it? Is this what 9 till 5, 5 days a week, going into an office, sitting at the same desk all day long, and moving bits of paper around? Is this my life now? Well, the first job I was in was 3 weeks. I couldn't stand it. It was just too much. I had to get out. Luckily, in 1979, there were other jobs to be had, but there were so many people out there that are now going into jobs that are just not, they're just getting a paycheck. Money is our God.
Well, you say that, but, you know, the millennials have got a whole different view.
That's true.
To a large extent, you know, they're being much more demanding about what kind of work they're willing to get involved in, what kind of companies they're willing to work for.
Yeah.
They want a whole lot more meaning out of their lives.
Yes.
Out of working lives than you or I or, you know, any of the boomers ever put up with.
Yeah.
And they get moaned at and called entitled. Entitled, they're actually asking to enjoy their work. Ask them, how can they possibly, where do they think they are supposed to enjoy their work?
It's the clash of the old and the new, isn't it? Coming together and not realise, well, there's a way forward. That's where collaboration comes in handy.
But the weird thing is that, you know, the old and the new, you say it's a clash of the old and the new. Most of the, you know, 50 plus who come up through their career, they don't really need to work anymore. Mm-hmm. What are they looking for? They're looking for exactly what the millennials are looking for.
Yeah.
But somehow, I don't know, do we somehow resent the millennials because they're getting it at 25 and we had to wait till 50 before we could have it?
A little bit, yeah. But there is,
the fact that we want it now, and actually we wanted it then, we just didn't admit it because we didn't think we could have it.
Yeah.
Now the kids are coming through going, why can't I have it? You know, why not? And I'm with them. Why shouldn't you work for a company that you believe in? Why shouldn't you work for, why shouldn't the functional work that you do be work that you enjoy? And why shouldn't you be given respect by your manager and treated like a human being with a massive contribution to make?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think eventually the current world of the corporate, which is like this no face, no, it's, you know, the corporate as opposed to, well, it's still people, but and they currently getting away with this kind of hierarchical, bullying, strategic way of working where you've got to jump through these hoops in order to
But it's changing.
It is on its way out.
It goes through cycles where companies go, oh, we're only going to do our particular expertise and we're going to outsource everything else. Yeah. And then they pull it all in-house for a while, and then they go, oh, we've got a load of miserable people doing stuff they don't enjoy. Let's put it out to those people who enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going through cycles, but I think it's increasingly becoming that the big corporate, even the big corporates, are recognizing the value of using specialists and specialists who enjoy what they do.
Well, that's why they become specialists, isn't it? Because you're going to concentrate and specialise in something. Although I did have one client once, and I said, "What are you good at?" I didn't say what do you enjoy. I said, "What are you good at?" She said, "I'm known for conflict resolution." She said, "People from all over the place call me up and want me to come in and help them with the conflict resolution." She hated it. Absolutely. Well, considering, what does that mean? Conflict resolution. It's this nice little title. Actually means you're going to go into the middle of a row and sort something out. So you're dealing with day in, day out, miserable, grumpy, argumentative, horrible people. And she has to solve their problems. So I said, what do you want to do? She went, oh, that's silly. I can't say. I said, no, come on. What do you really want to do? And it meant, at the end of the day, changing her business so that she could pull herself out of her business because she wanted to help disabled children ride horses. What a difference. They're going into the corporate world, conflict resolution. Actually, I want to be over there. I'm only doing it on Saturday morning at the moment, but I'd rather do it full time. Can I do that? I said, well, let's see if we can do that. But so I think people are cottoning on to, I don't have to suffer like this.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Work and suffering don't have to be the same thing. One of the big things, I think, is thinking about it not as work, but as my work, as in my life's work.
Yes. Yeah.
And that makes a massive, massive difference.
Yeah.
It was, I think it was Leonard Cohen. He was asked early on, I'm sure it was him. He was asked quite early on in his career, how did you guess? How did you figure out what you wanted to do? And he said, I knew I didn't want to work for pay. Oh. But I did want to be paid for my work. And that's the bit that we get wrong. We think we have to work for pay. And we don't think we can get paid for our work.
And people also, dare I say, I think the male ego feels their status is built into how much money and stuff they have, the car, the house, so women are
not only males, but yeah, that is
but
a more predominantly male trait than female. Yeah,
I wonder whether if it was known to be a male profession, whether nursing, although there are male nurses, whether they would be better paid, but because they're women and it's considered a vocation, we don't need to pay them that much. Same as teachers in primary schools, majority are female. Teachers get paid pittance for what they actually...
Well, considering they make a difference to the next generation.
Exactly. And they don't... Everyone says, they've got long school holidays.
The thing that people say is, those who can do, those who can't teach. What?
Put them in a classroom with 30 kids and see how long they last.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Listen, we've rattled on about this. This is brilliant. I think one of the things people don't do about genius is they kind of put their head down and they get on with it because they live for the weekend. And I think it takes a brave soul to be able to go, I'm not happy. It's a really big thing to admit to anybody out loud, even to yourself, that I'm not happy. And the only way you can find out what will make you happy is to discover what your genius is. And to do that, you take them through a process, don't you?
Well, one of the things I do is the core process.
Explain how that works.
How that works? Well, how that works is it gives you a phrase that allows you to get back to you at your best all the time. So, as we said earlier, mine's encouraging potential.
So how long did it take you to come to that conclusion? It's quite a hefty process, isn't it?
It's about half day. I've done it in an hour and a half. And it's taken, other times it's taken 4 hours,
Yeah.
So.
But you can imagine, for me, sitting in a room talking about me for half a day, it just wouldn't, it would really be hard for me to do that. So, you know, you've got to be in a place where you've really got to want it in order for you to.
Yeah. You have, but in fairness, you know, it's not talking about you for half a day. The first hour or so is you telling stories about times when things were absolutely brilliant.
Okay.
Yeah. After that, then we get into the process of pulling out some words that were going on and get you thinking about what was actually happening during those times when things were brilliant.
Mm.
And then we get into the slightly intuitive, you know, energy woo-woo side of things, where we get a short list of 4 words. And we use those to spark the intuitive arrival at the words that actually describe what you do. And you end up with, the phrase that you end up with is a verb and a noun.
Right.
So it's an ing verb, you know, so like an active verb.
Yep.
Yeah.
Doing word.
And I always describe it as an ing and a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they are always doing something to, with, or for something. So mine is encouraging potential. Other collaborators that you know are igniting dreams.
It's nice.
Interrupting perspective.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
You're going to have to guess who those are.
Oh, I know those ones. I've heard those before.
You know those ones, yeah.
An inspiring
catalyzing transformation.
What was that?
Catalyzing transformation.
Ooh,
yeah. And obviously you know inciting awesomeness.
I would say inspiring, but it's inciting, isn't it? What's the difference?
Inciting. Yeah, you see, and that's what I love about doing this work, because it's not just some word that will do. It's the right word.
Right.
And with Dave, I'm sure he won't mind us saying it's Dave's core process. He doesn't just inspire people to become awesome. He does actually kind of challenge them and dare them to be.
Yeah.
Something
a bit further on. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit more of the oomph in the way that he does it that brings that out. And, you know, getting to that perfect word, when that clicks, you just see it physically. You know, their whole physiology changes when you've got their core process.
Have you considered, I don't know if you have, you might have already done it, I'm asking a question, do this as an online course?
I don't. My mentor that can do a short version of it.
Right.
I don't think it will work as well.
No. Oh, it definitely wouldn't work as well. But I was just thinking, what might people...
And my concern is that once people latch onto a phrase, they can't really let that phrase go.
Yeah.
And my concern is that it may corrupt the experience of getting their real core process. Nick disagrees with me on that. Nick Heath, my mentor.
Okay.
He maintains that it's perfectly possible to do sort of a core process light.
Yes.
To get,
and then you could get a finish off it at the end.
And then you go a lot deeper when you do the actual core process proper.
But from the point of view of sometimes the exploratory wanderings in the beginning, you could actually take them a lot longer if you're not thinking about, I'm with this person and by the end of the afternoon I'm going to have my core process. You can do it like in a 6-week session where you give a thought provoking start. They spend some time working on themselves and they go on to the next lesson and it goes a little bit deeper, and they go on to the next lesson, it goes a bit deeper, and then at the end they kind of finish and then they connect up with you again for maybe a live session and or a face-to-face session to kind of just you fine-tune it and go, okay, and you've seen all the process, the steps they've taken in order to... I'm just thinking of when you envisage that people are coming out of the corporate world like a tsunami.
Don't get me wrong, there's absolutely a place for an online that will...
You're going to be inundated
along that journey.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. And I've got one that's, Yeah, it's pretty good actually. Unleash Your Genius.
Yeah.
It's a nice little course that helps people to start that journey.
Right.
Core process is such an individual thing.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, I love doing them live.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, you never want to stop, do you? I get that.
no, there's always, I mean, there will always be people who want it live.
Yeah.
I'm core process itself, the activity that gets you to core process is just such an enjoyable thing. I like to keep that pure, if you like.
You're purist.
You're absolutely right. People coming out of corporate, people unhappy in their jobs.
Yeah.
An online course that will allow them to
at least scratch the surface and get them thinking about it and realizing that.
Yeah, well, with an online course, you can go reasonably deep.
Yeah.
People are willing to do it.
Have you come across, Mind Valley?
Yeah.
There's on there, one of their experts is a guy called John Butcher, and he has what he calls his life book.
Right.
He does it face to face, and it costs thousands, but you can do it online, and it's a 10-week course. And I did it with Alan, and it was really, really simple, but really, really profound.
Yeah.
Without him saying a word, and all he did was, I think, 3 live Q&A sessions. So you're there with like 1,000 other people on the line. And questions were coming up, and you're like, oh, I'm glad that question came up because I've asked that one, but he hasn't answered my one. But it was really clever on how you view your life, your family, your parenting styles, your emotions, your spirituality, your work life, everything that you could come across. But he has had this and it was very simple, really, really simple course, but it hit the button. And I just think that what you probably do in an afternoon is probably a 6-week online course for people in America who can't get to you, because there are going to be people all over the world that are changing the way they view their life, aren't they? Yeah,
in fairness, I do core process over Zoom anyway.
Right.
It works perfectly well. Doing it over Zoom. It's slightly better face to face.
Yes.
In the same room. Because you're in each other's energy, but you can do it perfectly well over Skype or Zoom. Or not Skype these days. Skype's not rubbish.
It's a dirty word. Okay, well, mull that over, because if you start having an online course, you heard it here first, folks.
No, there is an online course. It just needs tarting up a bit.
Oh, go tart it up. Go tart it up, young man. So moving on swiftly, because I don't know if you realise we've been chatting for just about an hour. I just want to bring you back to the people that are out there that are listening into this. They're people that have either heard about BeCollaboration, are already collaborators, are already part of the online platform, or are just curious and haven't actually found out anything about it, but heard the word collaboration and were quite curious and wanted to find out a little bit more. As one of our accomplices, you've been doing that for, 2 years now? Something like that?
A bit longer, actually.
Is it really? It's so quick, isn't it? Yeah. So you've got a lively little group over in Surrey. So I'd just like you to share your take on what made you kind of step up into your genius in order to lead these groups, and what's come out of it for you from a personal perspective.
Cool. Well, I mean, what made me step up was I came over to Hartford because there used to only be Hartford.
Yeah, good old days.
For BeColl, and on there and then on the day I knew that I was going to join up, it was just like coming home.
Oh, that's lovely.
This is my people.
Yeah.
My kind of approach to life. So when there was the opportunity to take that out to a wider audience and spread the word a bit more, it just felt like the right thing to do, to get involved and to become one of the hosts. And as you know, we had a go down on the south coast, but didn't quite
started out really strong, didn't it? We had some fabulous meetings over there.
Yeah, we had some great meetings down there.
Yeah,
we couldn't quite get the numbers up.
We didn't. And then, it didn't click into. Yeah. Because I think as well at that time, because again that was a few years ago, three or 4 years ago. people didn't get what we were trying to achieve, did they? I don't.
They didn't. And I think the other thing was, because I'm not actually on the South Coast.
Yes, that didn't help.
I was a bit too far off patch.
Yeah.
To maintain it and to encourage the right people to come along. Up here in Surrey, with Dave and I, we're constantly interacting with the people in the area, and that does allow us to bring people along. You know, Simon, who joined recently, you know, I first met Simon years ago, and we've kind of, you know, bounced off around and seen each other now and then, and he knows Stuart, and so when he finally did come to a BeColl meeting, you know, he already knew us, so it wasn't all brand new to him. I was really pleased when he decided to.
It's lovely, wasn't it? Yeah, you've had some really good members join over there recently, so looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with those guys. It's going to be brilliant. Really strong group. But
you also asked, you know, what do I get out of it? You know, apart from it being a really fun afternoon, then, you know, just a really enjoyable time. Since I've been doing the accomplished role, I am so much more confident in an event environment than I ever used to be. I know now, you know, if there's something that needs doing around setting up an event, I can do it.
Yeah. Because
I've done it. You know, Dave and I, we don't plan massively.
Don't tell me that.
We know who's coming. We know who's speaking. We know that without us really having to do very much, the theme of what people speak about will gel nicely. Yes. That's just always wonderful, the way that.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. We don't say, this is the theme, so you must do something on that theme. To say, okay, so you want to do that as your known be known. Lovely, thank you very much. Well, that sounds like an interesting genius slot. Marvellous, thank you. Yeah. And oh, that's interesting. Well, I wonder how we had that core value to look at today. And the whole thing falls together without us having to do anything to it.
Yeah.
So that ability to trust myself, I think what it is, that it allows me now to trust myself to be able to take whatever happens on the day and make it a really enjoyable meeting.
Yeah.
You know, for everybody there and for me.
Yeah.
And you know, you said this week, you used, it was last week you said it to me, you know, need a speaker in a couple of days' time.
Yeah.
And I was, you know, quite comfortable going, yeah, I can do that, not a problem. I've got material, I'll put it together in the right context and bang, off we go.
Yeah.
Years ago, I'd have needed 6 weeks' notice.
Yes.
Before I even dreamt of standing up in front of the room and sharing my stuff with them. Now, after having been an accomplice for a couple of years, it's just natural.
You pull your sleeves up and go, come on then, let's do it. And you just get on with it.
Yeah.
What I liked about you as well when I asked you, I mean, one, obviously, to come to any meeting and be able to present in the front of the room, it is a privilege, you know, it is something where you're raising your profile. But I wanted you to raise your profile because obviously you're down in Surrey, people hear us talk about you, but it's like, oh, he's here. Oh, that's the guy. So you get an opportunity to be in front of the room. But you never, sometimes I'll ask people, would you like to? And they're like, oh, well, I suppose I could. Oh, I'll do you a favour. That kind of attitude. And seriously, and I'm like, what? I'm doing you the favour. Somebody's not well. It's unfortunate. But you didn't make me feel like that. You're like, yeah, sure, no problem. It was like you wanted to do it because you appreciate the value of being in front of the room, but you never made me feel beholden that I had to kind of grovel, go, oh, is it all right? Do you mind? I know it's short notice. I'm really sorry. I didn't have to. I just said, do you fancy doing that? And you went, yeah, sure. Perfect, you know? And what you delivered as well, I've heard the core process conversation with the figure eight and all the rest of it. Yeah. But you still managed to take it another step on.
There's always another aspect of the work that we do.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You know, you could actually do the same presentation and people will get different stuff out of it.
Yeah.
But there's always a little tweak that you can make to how you present it and the exercises you get people to do
Yeah.
that allow them to get more out of that interaction with you.
Yeah.
But talking of the short notice of that one,
yeah.
you know, I got in trouble.
No. Why?
Well, when I said yes, I'd actually forgotten that Daniela was flying back in from Italy on Tuesday night. I was supposed to be picking her up.
Oh, Daniela, I'm so sorry.
Luckily, we only live 2 miles from the airport, so it wasn't too
You still
bad.
managed to do it, yeah. I know you said you've got a weekend to yourself. Oh, I can do that. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, but I'd forgotten that I was supposed to pick her up from the airport. So I got slightly oh right, okay, I'll get the train then. But as I say, luckily we're only a couple of miles from the airport.
You've been married a long time. Don't ruin it. Oh dear. Well, I think having gone through all of this, I want to just again thank you for everything you do as an accomplice. I really enjoy working with you.
You know I love doing it.
Yeah, and that shines through, and that's why it's so easy. So when we have like accomplice days where we get together sort of 3 or 4 times a year, I love that. Because one, we get to coach each other and support each other, and then we get practical, and it's a real collaboration, because you guys are going, well, when we did that didn't work very well, and when you did that was great, but I didn't like that bit, and we polish it and we hone it and we work on it together, and new things come out every time, and then we implement it the following 3 months.
And then we're spreading that best practice, if you like, so that whatever's going on well in Surrey gets spread out to the other groups, and whatever's going well in Essex gets spread to the other groups, and whatever's going well in Hertford. And I'm really looking forward to the new ones.
Oh, it's so exciting. Seriously.
I'm not sure I'm going to get up to Liverpool for May, but I'm definitely going to get across to Park Royal.
Oh, Park Royal is going to be fab. We had a meeting yesterday about it. So 3rd of April, if you're interested, guys. Venue to be confirmed, but we found one that we like, and it's really funky. Would suit BeCollaboration down to the ground. So we're waiting on that information, if we can have that. And then it's going to be business focused, which we've never really done before. Business has always been part of it. People get business out of BeCollaboration, but that's not the primary reason they come on board and get involved with it. But this one at Park Royal is going to be in collaboration with Barclays Bank. So we've got them helping us out. I'm looking forward to that. So it is definitely going to be business focused. So Engage, our commercial consultancy, are going to be heading that up. So people that are involved with Engage are going to be doing masterclasses, are going to be doing genius slots, all that kind of thing as well. So it's going to be really interesting to try.
But it also means that the banks are going to get exposed to our kind of stuff.
Totally. And it's like rabbit in headlights when we talk to them. They're like, what? That sounds good. What's that all about? And they listen. And as one of them said, all the other banks are scrabbling to do other things, but mostly they're just doing networking. And everyone's like, oh, networking. So this definitely ain't networking.
Bank networking.
Yeah. And of course, Liverpool, that's going to be brilliant, because Sangeeta, when she's... a lady called Sangeeta Patel lives up there, and she's got it on her heart that she wants to help a city community, and Liverpool is where her heart is, and that's where she's living at the moment. So she thinks BeCollaboration will be the best thing for that. So I really want to take a few collaborators up there to just kind of bring the culture of BeCollaboration and the love, and surround her with all of those people that she's going to be bringing on board as well. So I'm very excited about that. It's going to be fantastic. So thank you, Andrew, for a lovely chat.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me on. It's been nice.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Core Process, if anybody wants to know any more about Core Process, or discovering your genius, or finding out about enjoyment performance theory, or even having a deeper conversation, because we didn't even talk about consciousness and energy stuff that we started before we started recording.
Yeah, it actually forms a big part of what I do, not necessarily overtly, but there's a lot of access consciousness and awareness of consciousness that is involved in the work that I do, and getting your energy balanced and aligned. Maybe
there's an article there for the platform that you could pop on there to kind of just give a finish off of this conversation to people, to help them understand that there's that part of Andrew Horder, and also there's a big part which they all flow in together, don't they? Because you want a bit of my wacky woo woo as well. Yes, yes, please. Or even just a little video of your own, you know, whatever you prefer doing if you're a writer.
I'll give some thought on that. I've got some writing days planned over the next.
Lovely. Okay, that would be really good to see. And yeah, so this video will be out there. We'll pop it onto YouTube. We'll pop it onto the platform BeCollaboration Global. It will end up on our website and various other places. We shall Twitter out like mad and on Facebook too. So thank you very much for being part of this Friday afternoon. I've had a fabulous time. I learned an awful lot about it. And hopefully, if you're interested in finding out how to do the work you love and love the work that you do, Andrew's the man. How would we get hold of you, Andrew? What's the quickest way?
The easiest way is the website, joyful-genius.com.
There we go. Or Andrew at, if you want to email
Andrew
you.
At, joyful-genius.com.
I thought so, just checking. Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much for your time. See you later. Take care.
Bye.